Have you ever heard traders talk about options and kind of just nodded along? You're not alone. They can sound super complicated, but honestly, they're one of the most powerful tools out there. So don't worry if it seems intimidating. We're going to break it all down nice and simple.
Okay, so picture this. You are absolutely convinced a stock is about to shoot up or maybe tank, but you don't have the cash to buy a ton of shares to make it worth your while. Well, what if you could? That's exactly the problem options solve. They let you play the game for a fraction of the cost. All right, first things first. We've got to rewire our brains a little bit here. When you're dealing with an option, you're not buying a tiny piece of a company. You're buying a contract. It's a totally different mindset. At its heart, an option is just a formal, standardized contract that gets traded on an exchange, just like a stock. And like any contract, it always has two sides. You've got a buyer who gets certain rights, and you've got a seller who takes on certain obligations. Think about it like this. Owning a stock is like owning the car. It's yours. You can keep it forever, sell it whenever you want. An option? That's more like putting down a deposit to reserve the right to buy that car at today's price. But you only have until the end of the month to decide. You don't own the car, you own the choice. And that choice has a deadline.
So what are these contracts all about? Well, believe it or not, every single complex option strategy you've ever heard of is built from just two basic flavors, calls and puts. You get these two, you get the entire game. First up, we've got the call option. A call gives you the right, but, and this is key, not the obligation, to buy a stock at a price you lock in today. You'd buy a call when you're bullish, meaning you think the stock is going up. It's like saying, I think this is going to be worth more later, so I'll pay a small fee now to lock in this lower price. And on the flip side, you've got the put option. This gives you the right to sell a stock at a set price. So you buy a put when you're bearish, when you think the price is heading down. You can use it to bet against a stock, or you can think of it like insurance for stocks you already own. If the price drops, your put protects you. So what exactly is inside one of these contracts? Well, turns out every single option, doesn't matter if it's a call or a put, is made from the same three basic ingredients. It's really this simple. First, what's the stock we're talking about? That's the underlying stock. Second, what's the price we're locking in? That's called a strike price. And third, what's the deadline? That's your expiration date. That's it. Every option has those three parts. Let's look at a real one. Now this looks like a secret code, right? But it's actually pretty simple once you know what to look for. AAPL? That's easy. It's Apple. 170505 is the expiration date, May 5th, 2017. The C tells us it's a call, and that long number at the end, 00148000, that's the strike price, $148 a share. See? All three ingredients are right there. Now this is a huge difference from stocks. Every option has a shelf life, a built-in deadline, and that expiration date is so important because it forces you to make a decision. The clock is always ticking. As the person holding that option, you have three things you can do before time runs out. Number one, you can exercise your right. That means actually buying the stock with your call or selling it with your put. Number two, you can sell the contract itself to another trader. Or number three, you can just do nothing. If your bet was wrong, you can just let the contract expire and all you've lost is the fee you paid for it. And these expiration dates aren't just random. They follow a predictable schedule. This just makes sure that there are always contracts available with different timeframes, whether you're looking at next week, next month, or even next year. Okay, this brings us back to a really crucial idea. Every single options trade has two sides. For every buyer who is gaining a right, there has to be a seller on the other side taking on an obligation. So what's the deal here? Well, the buyer pays a small fee, that's called the premium, to get all those rights and choices. The absolute most they can ever lose is that premium. The seller, on the other hand, collects that premium as income, but in exchange, they're on the hook. They have the obligation to follow through if the buyer decides to use their right, so their risk can be a whole lot bigger. So let's just leave it with this thought. Once you start seeing the market in terms of these contracts, these agreements about rights and time, how does that change things for you? You start to ask different questions. It's not just, is this a good company to own? It becomes, what do I think this stock will do by this specific date? It's a subtle shift, but trust me, it changes the entire game.